Hello and welcome back. You're tuned into Revision Hub with Jazzy Jane. I am back with another video, and this video will be continuing to look at crime and deviance, which is an AQA sociology topic. If you guys are ready to go, press the thumbs up icon right now and let's get cracking. So before we get cracking, let's look at a quick recap on what we looked at in my previous video. So last video, we looked at the labeling theory. We looked at various different sociologists, such as Lermont, who talks about primary and secondary deviance, Kikorio, and Becker. And you must be remembering Kikorio because I gave a case study on how crime, if you've committed a crime, it is not fixed, but rather it's negotiable, whether it's considered as a criminal or deviant activity, or whether you're convicted or not. So on a paper or flashcard, quickly jot down what you remember from my previous video. Obviously, you will only know this if you revised, rested, tested, and repeated yourself on the content that we've looked at in my previous video. So please take a few moments and get this done, because I think this is a really good way for you to refresh your memory, because if you go in the exam and you cannot remember the things properly, it'll be very hard for you to write an answer. So for me, practically, an exam is simply just a memory test. For me, sociology is more like a memory test that you go in the exam and you jot down everything you remember based on the question. So please take a moment to do this before you go on with the next content. So let's look at labeling theory number 5. So Cohen, another sociologist, looked at two groups, mods and rockers. So he did a sociological research and he looked at two different groups, the mods and the rockers. There were riots that took place between the mods and the rockers. The media got to know about this, and then they sensationalized this as breaking news. The rockers, the mods, they perceived them very negatively. They sensationalized the riots, when in reality, it wasn't as violent or as bad as it was shown by the media. So the media, by using various different media language, they made the mods and rockers and the riots in particular seem very violent, but in reality, it was not as violent or as bad as the media actually showed the public. So the media created folk devils. So what happened was they said that, okay, those people who were mods and rockers, they are stereotypically typified into a category that, and they form various different characteristics. For example, they wear leather jackets, for example. So these characteristics help the world to find out, okay, those people in public who are wearing leather jackets, they are mods and rockers, and so they will be treated negatively, they will be labeled negatively. So the media created this folk devil, so that whenever the public saw the image that the media was trying to portray, they labeled that individual negatively, as well as treated them very negatively. This happened all because of the media, as I just said, because the media created a moral panic and made it sound very bad, but in reality it was not even bad, and the fact that they had typified stereotypes was not always the case. So we can see that the media creates two things, a folk devil. As a result of the folk devil, there's the moral panic. So this is very important in order to understand Cohen's mods and rockers theory. Let's look at another theory, labeling theory number 6. So, Young is another sociologist. Young found out that the police arrest MS for minor offences. So, Jock Young did an investigation on marijuana smokers. It was a participant observation, so he went in and actually got involved within the study. So the media got to know about, not the study, but got to know about how there's an increase within marijuana smokers, and they got in conflict with the police quite a bit, and they committed various different offences. Okay, MS is marijuana smokers. So what happened was there was a group, okay, and they were marijuana smokers, okay, and these groups got arrested for minor offences. The media, what did they do? It was not as bad, but rather than the media got to know about this, they sensationalized their stories, made it sound even bigger, and made it sound even bad. So, what is this term known as? We looked at it in my last slide, so pause and have a think. So the media created a folk devil and created moral panics. So they were arrested for minor offences. The media made it sound really, really bad, that they're really, really bad people. They created a folk devil and a moral panic within society. The moral panic created folk devils, that all people who held such characteristics were typified and stereotyped into these categories, hence they will be labelled negatively, they will be treated very, very badly. So the police began to take note of these typified stereotypes. Once they had all of this hard work done, what happened was they worked even harder in order to arrest these folk devil drug takers. So as a result, it led to deviant amplification, because those people who were not even, they maybe held characteristics like the marijuana smokers, but in reality they were not part of that group. They were arrested, and that led to a lot of deviant amplification because they started to rebel again. So as a result, it made things even worse, when in reality it was not as worse. It was only because of the media that made it sound really, really bad. So this was done by raising the price of drugs, harsh police treatment, and harsher media coverage. So this supports Cohen's theory, okay, like we looked at in my previous slide. So pause and have a think, draw a spider diagram, Cohen on one side and this other theory about marijuana smokers on the other side, and try to do a comparison. When you do a comparison, you will clearly see how this supports Cohen's theory. So hopefully this theory is making huge, huge, huge sense to you. Let's move on to a moral panic. We all see moral panics within our daily lives and we don't really realize it. So let's have a look. In the 21st century, we hear a lot of news stories about how there's an increase with the knife crime that takes place within the UK. Every day, obviously, the news is flooded with a new knife crime story, or even the news in the UK make knife crime seem really, 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 really bad, when in reality it is not really that bad. The media keeps them for days and days, repeating the same story, exaggerating it, adding more things to it to make it sound more sensationalized. As a result, it causes people to be scared. Oh my gosh, what would you react? You'll be like, oh my gosh, there's so many knife crime. Oh my gosh, I'm not safe, and stuff like that. Hence, that creates a moral panic. So, if I'm scared and I'm afraid of being a victim of knife crime, what would I do? Obviously, I will try to do something that will protect myself. So, what happens is that I begin to carry a knife as well, in terms of for self defense. As a result, if a person has a knife and they're carrying it for their own self defense, that same person is more likely to get into a fight with someone. Once that person gets into a fight with someone, they will remove their knife and will use it. As a result, we see deviant amplification that takes place. It causes even more crime. So we can see how moral panic causes deviant amplification. As a result of deviant amplification and the moral panics caused by the media, it causes more cases of knife crime. Hence why we can see how this is a true real life example that we can all relate to, about how we can see moral panic within the 21st century in the UK in particular. So, thank you so much for tuning in into Revision Hub with Jazzy J. I'll be back with another video, and in the other video, we will be looking at various other concepts. Till then, please revise, rest, test, and repeat yourself the content that we've learnt from this video and all other videos that I have looked at. So, hopefully, I'll be able to now restart this and go through the next PowerPoint with you in my next video. So this is the first slide of my next PowerPoint. So I hope you guys stay tuned for that, and then we'll be going on to look at another concept within crime and deviance within my next video. Till then, please keep revising and stay safe. Thank you so much for tuning in into Revision Hub with Jazzy Dome.